Further to that, is there evidence for Jesus outside the Bible?
There certainly is evidence for Jesus outside the Bible. He is mentioned in extra-biblical Roman, Jewish, and Christian sources. However, I want to again ferret out an assumption behind this question. The assumption behind the question is that somehow the documents collected into the New Testament aren't really evidence. These are suspect. But things outside the Bible, now that's evidence. That's really evidence. And that's a failure to understand what the New Testament originally was. Originally, there wasn't any such book called the New Testament. It wasn't until hundreds of years later that the church collected these documents and put them under one cover, and it came to be called the New Testament. Originally, there were just these separate documents written in the Greek language, like the Gospel of John, the Acts of the Apostles, Paul's first letter to a church in Corinth in Greece, telling this remarkable story about Jesus. And the church collected the earliest sources, the ones closest to Jesus and the apostles, and put them under one cover and called it the New Testament. So for someone to ignore the documents in the New Testament and turn to these sources outside the New Testament is just historically mad. It's bad methodology. That would be to say we should ignore the earliest, primary, most reliable sources about Jesus and turn instead to sources which by their very nature are later, derivative, and less reliable, which is just crazy as historical methodology. So while there are these extra biblical sources, yes, they are not really all that important. They tend to confirm what the New Testament says about Jesus, but they don't really add anything new. The real question is how reliable are these primary source documents with regard to the facts I talked about?